surprise cast. I thought we'd keep it light, only cover maybe 2 or 3 topics. Um, so yeah, let me. Okay, we're live with another episode of BS Busters. This is a surprise cast for those of you listening. For those of you who might watch this in the future. Uh, Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes, but with that being said, damn. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. I'm joined by Kenoshi Abominito, who will pimp out what he's gonna pimp out.
It's Kenoshi Abominito. Yeah, I do Project Console at um, Tuesday nights at 7:30. I might still do something since he won't be there, so I might cover a couple topics. So it won't be super long. So yeah, possibly see you at 7:30 Tuesday. This Tuesday.
All right. This is Mr. Red Fox. My schedule has basically is changing this month. For the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be um, training new people all week, so I'll only be available on the weekend. So we will have a BS Buster cast for the next 2 weeks, but it'll just be on the weekend, Saturday. Um, and I think I'll have Saturday off next week, but I'm going to be out of town. So the third week of August. So starting August 22nd to the 26th, I will be out of town. So we'll go back to the Wednesday schedule on that day. So we'll have a Wednesday cast. But I will be in a hotel room, so I don't know if the internet's going to be great where I am. Because they all lie whenever you book a hotel. Oh, we have great internet. And then you get there and it's like, it sucks.
You gotta pay the extra fee to get the faster internet.
No, I'll do that. I have no problem paying the extra fee for better internet. It's just, even then, sometimes they lie. They're like, we have great internet. And then you get there and it's like, it's serviceable. And I'm streaming. And I'm not streaming 2K, 4K, or any of that shit. But that's neither here nor there.
I guess if you have a Ethernet adapter, you might want to bring one of those because you know as good as Wi-Fi has gotten over the years, it's
Hmm.
still not the greatest.
I mean, I agree
Still not
with
as
you.
good as being in a Wi hooked up to a being plugged in.
I agree with you, but most hotels that I've been to disabled their Ethernet. Because a lot of hotels, what they did was, before Wi-Fi became what it is now, all you had was Ethernet. Once you got high-speed internet, so everything was Ethernet. And then as Wi-Fi became bigger and bigger and bigger, the hotels didn't want to spend the money to actually run the cable to each of those rooms. So they just started disabling the Ethernet jacks and just made it all Wi-Fi. So it's one of those things where it's like, even if you go to a lot of hotels, even if they have an Ethernet jack in the room, they don't have Ethernet. So it's like you're kind of screwed either way, which uh, kind of sucks, really, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
it is.
I mean, it doesn't
Even the
matter.
even the 5-star hotels, even the super high end hotels lie.
I am not staying at a 5-star hotel. I'm staying at a Hyatt. It's decent. It's
Oh,
it's fairly decent. It has a suite. It has a gym. After I'm finished at the conference, I can go to the gym. Maybe it has a pool, so I'll bring my swimming trunks. It's nothing fancy. I've stayed in maybe four, like, over 3-star hotels in my life, like 4-star to 5-star hotels in my life, and I will tell you right now, uh, they're okay. They're not my personal favorite. Um, Really, I would rather be like, a hotel is only as good as the amenities that it has, but basically, the better the amenities a hotel has, the more expensive it's going to be. So for
yeah.
me, I kind of just like, because most of the time I'm traveling, I'm by myself. I really don't need all the bells and whistles. I need a bed. I need a room that doesn't have bed bugs. I need a bed that's relatively comfortable. I like having the suite on the outside in case I have a guest or something. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Continue talking about hotel rooms. I gotta go do something real quick. Be back in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about hotel rooms. They, I've just always, even at decent hotels, I've just always had a hard time sleeping in a hotel room. It's been like that for a while. Um, I'm not, I'm not exactly sure why, but I mean, you can be in some pretty trashy hotels. I've heard that, you know, it seems like you're paying in some of these hotels. You end up paying more for less. I've heard horror stories about paying absorbent amounts of price money for a hotel room and getting Jack and Squat. I've never really had a bad experience in a hotel. Uh, I have subpar, like mediocre to average, but no like horror stories of you know somebody somebody whooping on their girlfriend next door, or um, shooting outside the shooting outside the motel. Uh, yeah, stayed at a hotel. It was last year. Um, it's okay, not not too exciting, but I just like I said, I have a hard time sleeping in hotels. Um, Again, I'm not exactly sure why. It's been like that. I noticed that. I think I noticed that a few years ago. But
Okay, back. Anyway,
uh,
yeah. No, I'm not watching Maverick on TV. Stop sending me emails. Anyway, so I tend to stay away from really expensive hotels. Although I will say this much, like if you can get a chance, go to a hotel. Like sometimes it's better to go to a nice hotel when you want to pamper yourself a little bit, especially when they have a complimentary snack bar. Like it's included with the room. You pay a little bit more up front for the room, but like basically, if you're there for the week, you can empty the snack bar and they don't charge you per snack,
yeah,
which is nice. Um, because I've been to some places where they charge you per snack. Like, oh, you had a candy bar, that'll be like normally if you went to a drugstore near the hotel, that same candy bar would be like under $1. In the act, they charge you like $2.50, $3. So yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. And if you're a frequent traveler and you do a lot of travel, I would always advise one of the best things you could do is I'm not saying everyone, but one of the best things you could do is get those frequent travel hotels. But like I said, a lot of people aren't traveling now, and when they do travel, a lot of people are doing Airbnbs and stuff like that, where it's actually sometimes cheaper to stay per night than a hotel. So, and if you don't mind staying in somebody's house, I mean, I guess you can do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that, you know. Um, but
yeah,
that's just me, because it just feels weird, you know. Because there's shit I do in a hotel that I would never do in someone's house.
yeah.
and vice versa. There's shit that I do at my house that I would never do in a hotel. But anyway,
I mean, and like I was saying earlier when you left, is I don't know why, but I mean, I've just lately I've had a hard time sleeping in hotels every time I go to one.
because it's an unfamiliar location, you're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean that might be it.
I mean,
But
typically speaking, when I go to a hotel, um, I tend to I tend to like the first day I'm there. I'm usually coming from like a conference. Like if I go to a 2 weeks from now, the 22nd, I'm going to a conference in LA. So I'm gonna be leaving like Sunday, and I'll be getting there like Sunday night. Um,
you're gonna fly there, right? Or
Obviously, man, I live on the East Coast. I'm not driving there in one
yeah,
day.
it's like
Yeah, so I'm gonna be flying there, and so basically, I'm gonna be like out of town. So for me, like by the time I get there, no, like I think it'll be it'll be damn near midnight by the time I get there. Um, so I'll get there. I probably will wind up. We're gonna go visit a friend. I'm gonna stay at her house for that night. And I'll leave because the conference doesn't start till like 10 or 11. I'll leave where she is because she lives in LA, so it's not gonna be that difficult for me to get there. I'll get there, and then my actual hotel. I won't be there. I won't be checking until that Monday evening. So by the time I do all that, I'm gonna be tired. So by the time I pull off my clothes, hang up the stuff I need to hang up, brush my teeth, do all the stuff I got to do, I'm gonna be fucking tired. So it's gonna be pretty easy for me to just crash.
yeah.
But
Is it one of those conferences for your business?
business. It's business related. Yes. So. So really, it's just an excuse for people to network, drink, and talk shop. Because we haven't had look. COVID shut a lot of shit down, but we finally got a chance to do that. So that's gonna
Is
be
this something
fun.
you go? Is this something you go to every year, or like every other
Every
year? Or?
few years, like
Every
we
few
were
years.
supposed to do it in 2020,
Yeah.
but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
As per the usual, COVID happens and just fucks everything up for everybody. But I enjoyed what was there. I mean, I don't do these every year. Normally, in years past, like we'd have them every 2 or 3 years. I would send one of my staff to do it, but this year, since I'm training so many new people, I decided I'm gonna go myself because I need a vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how that is.
And this is a
Sometimes you just gotta get
tax.
away.
This is a tax. I can write this vacation off, plus do a little business on the side. I can
That's
take,
nice.
I can take the train over to San Diego Zoo, which apparently is a
Not,
very nice zoo. So,
yeah.
because I mean, I probably told you this before. I was supposed to go to Japan, um, in 2020, but then COVID happened, and I was like, well, can't do
No
that.
longer. No wagyu steak for you.
Well, I would never get Wagyu steak in Japan, but actually, I was gonna go to the Toho Studio tour. Um, Toho Studio is the studio that made Godzilla and a lot of the Akira Kurosawa films. So like Yojimbo and Sanjuro and a lot of other like films where you're like, oh, this is like really important for Seven Samurai, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there again. I was about to book my thing, and then COVID hit. I was like, fuck. And here's the thing, I saved up a lot of money to go on my trip because I was like, I know I don't want to be worried about, oh, I spent, because the thing that gets me when I go on vacation is that I spend more than I plan on spending. And when I was like younger and poor, I'd feel like shit after I spent all that money. I'm like, I can't believe I spent all that money. So like since I've gotten older, I like if I'm planning a vacation a year ahead, I start squirreling away money. So then when I go on my vacation, I don't feel like shit after I go on my vacation.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh my god, I, I, you know, whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get to some of these topics. We only have 3 topics. Uh, the main topic of the cast is, let me look at is when being a fan makes the game better. So basically, we're talking about games that aren't mainstream. A lot of people might not like them, but for us, being a fan of it makes it a more enjoyable gaming experience. Um, so without much ado, I guess you can go first, sir.
I'll have to think about this one. You can go.
All right,
You can go
I
first.
guess I'll go
Yeah,
first.
anything
All
else
right.
you can-
I love the Saints Row series. One of my favorite franchises. If I tried to explain to someone who was not into sandbox style games why they should like Saints Row, the average Joe Blow gamer would be like, "Oh, it's just a sandbox game." But like, if you're a fan of the Saints Row series, which I started with Saints Row 2 because I was like, when Saints Row 1 came out, I was like, "Oh, this is just a GTA clone." And then I went to a friend's house who had the OG Gen 1 Xbox with those massive fucking controllers that you needed like the arms of a big rig trucker to hit all the buttons because they were so damn big. Um, I and I didn't get it. I was like, this game's just a GTA clone. But then I played Saints Row 2, and I'm like, Saints Row 2 came out the same year as GTA 4. And I'm going to tell you right now, Saints Row 2, while it isn't as polished as GTA 4, is a better game than GTA 4. It's more fun. The driving is more enjoyable. The gunplay is more enjoyable. The fighting is more enjoyable. The activities in the open world game are more engaging. Um, than anything going on in The only thing I will say that GTA 4 has over Saints Row 2 is the core storyline is more engaging in GTA 4, even though I don't like the characters.
Yeah.
You know, like Nico Bellic's drama with his cousin and like the little the relationships between the different characters is far more interesting. But aside from that, Saints Row 2 like it's just a better game in every other regard, in my opinion. And from there, I've been a fan of the series to Saints Row 3 to Saints Row 4. I even like Agents of Mayhem, even though it's not a perfect game. As a matter of fact, it's far from perfect. But I enjoy it for what it is. So yeah, if you're a fan of the series, you'd be like, man, this is really good. If you're a fan, you know, like I wouldn't like if someone. I mean, you know, you could say the same thing about a game like The Legend of Zelda. Okay, not everybody is gonna like The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone said, "What Legend of Zelda should I give someone if you want to get them in The Legend of Zelda?" I wouldn't say Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild has very few elements to it that are shared amongst all the Legend of Zelda games. Um, and some people might find it boring. Like I have given, um, I've given people Breath of the Wild as a gift, and I've heard them say I had to turn that shit off or exchange it because it's boring. And I can
Eh,
understand why Breath of the Wild is boring because there's aspects of that game that are just like, this is a slog.
yeah, I can see that.
But if you're a fan of the Legend of Zelda series, there are certain games in the series where I'm like, okay, if you want to get someone into Legend of Zelda, play this Legend of Zelda game. You'll get into it. They'll enjoy it. I would not say Ocarina of Time. I wouldn't say uh I would say Wind Waker is kind of a mix. Cause Wind Waker, like if you give Wind Waker to a kid, they'll probably enjoy it. But if you're used to the Legend of Zelda formula, there's parts of Wind Waker that just feel incomplete.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to get someone in the Legend of Zelda, I would say start with Link to the Past or Link's Awakening. Because Link's Awakening is a bite-sized. Well, it's not bite-sized. It's easy to pick up and play, and yet there's depth to it. Same thing with Link to the Past. Link to
Yeah.
the Past has a very epic, like the music is good. It's got what you expect from a typical Legend of Zelda game is in Link to the Past, and it's done really well, damn near perfection. Plus, you can get Link to the Past in a lot of formats, so it's easy to get to. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
do you have an idea?
My games are Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear. I think they have. I think their combat system is. Most people would see it just as another 2D like anime like fighter, but their combat system is a much more refined version of Street Fighter, and as well as their stories are really crazy. Blaze Blue story's a mess, but I still find it interesting. Um, Guilty Gear story makes a lot more sense, but it's still a bit of a mess as well. Um, but a lot of the, a lot of the, you know, really you don't get into the stories because of the overarching plot. You get into the stories because the character interactions, more so, because half the time the plot just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's I think those, you know, um, if you're a fan of 2D fighters in general, especially if you're a big fan of the Street Fighter formula, that's those are two games that you can definitely get
Scratch that
into.
itch.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you don't really like. Street Fighter Six is shaping up to look pretty decent, but if you don't like the current, Street Fighter that's available,
You can
uh,
get something that's a little bit like the old Street Fighter back in the day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, yeah. I can't disagree with that assertion. I think that is also true. So, I think we've kind of covered that topic. I guess the next topic will be. This is just a little brief aside. Square Enix. We have some Square Enix news. Apparently, the reason they decided to sell Crystal Dynamics and Eidos is because let me look at this article right here.
I it's because they didn't want to cannibalize their projects or some BS.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wish they would just be honest and say, "Look, we were tired of putting billions of dollars into Western developed games studios, and none of those
Yeah.
games really, meeting our expectations. Although what the fuck they were expecting, I'll never understand. Because Tomb Raider has never been that big. Neither was Deus Ex. Like none of the games they were thinking these games need to make billions of dollars when we were never big back in the day. Lara Croft was Tomb Raider was never huge back in the day.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you had, if any, whether it be indie or any middle market publisher, when the first Tomb Raider came out, sold like 6 million, um, 6 million units, they would have been ecstatic. But Square Enix is like, no, it's a failure. It's like, God dang, it's like you overloaded, your budget with that freaking game, and most people I talk to that are really into the Lara Croft series were disappointed in what the direction those games took, because it's just kind of like, why did you? It doesn't even look like Laura Croft.
Yeah,
Looks like
but also Tomb Raider was never that big of a franchise.
yeah,
Like that and also they're like, well, they didn't want to cannibalize developers. I guess didn't want to cannibalize resources, but I'm like, first of all, you were spending way too damn much money. No one asked for a Tomb Raider reboot. Let's just get that out the way. No one asked for those two reboots Tomb Raider games. Let me repeat that a third time. No one asked for a reboot of Tomb Raider.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. Nobody did ask for it, and sometimes sometimes there's always that chance where nobody asked for something, they give you something nobody asked for, and you want it, and then but that wasn't one of those cases, I guess.
Well,
According to Square Enix.
I mean, the only reason I say no one asked for it is just because, like, okay, they're like, okay, Deus Ex always had a very niche fan base. It wasn't huge back in the day, but there was that niche fan base, like, hey, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. No one was like, sitting on their asses saying, a video game mascot I wish would come back. Who? Lara Croft. Like, no one was.
Yeah, I didn't really hear anybody asking for it. It's not like they were terrible games. I heard people who enjoyed them, but it wasn't like a fervor. It wasn't like Spider Man. Yeah, I mean that's probably a bad comparison because Spider Man's pretty mainstream.
Spider-Man's arguably the most popular Marvel character ever.
Yeah,
It would be like when Marvel made Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man. It's like no one was asking for an Ant-Man movie, but they made one.
yeah.
But here's the difference between Marvel and Square Enix. Marvel made an Ant-Man movie. That movie made money. Okay? Whereas Square Enix made two Tomb Raider games that no one fucking asked for, and apparently both of them sold. I think the first one sold over 6 million. Let's say 4 million at $60 a pop, and it was considered a failure. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Now, personally, and this is just, I have no evidence to support this, okay? Hear me out. I have no evidence to support this. I think that the reason Square Enix is selling off these studios and trying to consolidate all their stuff is that they're trying to make themselves smaller so that they can get bought by Sony. Here's the problem with that. Sony only has about 10 to 14 billion dollars in capital, okay, to buy stuff. Square Enix is still worth more than that, even with the shit they sold.
Yeah.
And the CEO of Square Enix can't sell Square Enix to Sony for he can't undervalue the stock to get Sony to buy them. Yeah. Which is what I think he's trying to devalue the company so that they can sell themselves to Sony. And that's my supposition. Am I right? I don't know. But it makes a hell of a lot more sense than, oh no, these bullshit ass reasons. Well, we're doing this to get into NFTs. Oh, you mean the weird techno thing that people were all hopped up on that crashed just a few months ago?
Yeah.
That no legitimate business in their right mind should be investing in crypto or blockchain or NFTs right now.
Yeah, business. The whole blockchain NFT thing was just, it's just a scam from the start.
Well, I won't say it was a scam because the idea behind artists of digital artwork being able to do a digital fingerprint on their art and sell it to people digitally is actually a good thing. How people have hijacked that and used it for doing illicit things like cutting, like, okay, here's a picture. we're not going to sell you the right to the picture. We're gonna break the digital rights to this picture into 1,000 pieces and sell the pieces to people.
Wow. That's crazy.
And that's one of the more tamer NFTs. You know, that's actually slightly more legitimate than some of the other NFT uses that we've seen, like GameStop's NFT, where they took the picture of that guy from 9/11. He's infamously, he jumped out of one of the towers, and he'd rather jump than be, burnt alive. I mean, he was gonna die either way, but he'd rather fall to his death than be burnt alive. They took that and made that into an NFT and sold it on the GameStop shop after changing the way the guy looks into an astronaut.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Fuck GameStop, by the way. Fuck that company. My point being is this. NFTs, blockchain, Bitcoin, all that shit is get rich quick schemes. And there's no way to really get rich quick. Either you're incredibly lucky or you do a ton of research and you wait for the perfect time to do something and then you get the fuck out while you can.
Yeah. And the thing I don't like about Bitcoin is that the blockchain stuff is that, again, it's super destructive. I wish they would find a more efficient way to deal with it, so you don't have a bunch of all this electronic waste everywhere.
I agree. And the thing is, like, once you use a graphics card or a CPU for Bitcoin mining, it's pretty much fucking useless for anything else. Like, you can't ever use it for anything else.
And the also, not to mention, it's also hard on the hardware. But it's also hard on the grid too, because again,
Yeah, it uses a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all around just not a good it's not a good system. But if you mention that, people get angry. Oh, don't say that. I'm trying to get paid. Well, come up with a better way to do this. I'm not saying don't do it, just find a better way.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still trying to push that whole blockchain thing or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't like the blockchain thing. I think it's all bullshit. But that's my own personal opinion. I mean, I know what it is. I just think it's bullshit. I'm like, if you're not providing a viable good or service, I don't see the point of having it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's my own personal belief. But back to Square Enix. Yeah, I mean, all this shit was just designed. Like I said, I personally think that the guy is, that they're just trying to essentially devalue the company so they can sell themselves to Sony. But if Sony is smart, they're not gonna bite. They're not gonna bite that. They're not gonna bite that hook because Square Enix is not what they used to be.
Yeah.
If it was SquareSoft from over 20 years ago, maybe. Square Enix, as it is now, shit.
Why don't they get those games anyway? I guess they would have a lot of those games exclusive to them if they bought it. I don't know if that would be in their best financial interest to keep those games on their console.
I mean, it would make more sense because traditionally a lot of those games from Square Enix have been Sony exclusive anyway.
Yeah.
Like Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't sell gangbusters on the Xbox. Is it on the Xbox or is it still PlayStation exclusive? Here, let me look it up. No, go ahead.
I'm just saying that they would get cut of everything. sold on everything if they had all their games on all the platforms.
Yeah, but
It's
as
not on
licensing,
one
that would also be
platform.
money going from them to
Yeah, they would
um,
have to get licensed to put those games. Yeah, maybe it would be beneficial if they had all those games exclusive to PlayStation. But
no, it's not on
the
the.
way it put,
Yeah, it's on the Xbox. It's on the PS4, Xbox One, Windows, and the Switch.
it, yeah, I guess it would be because then they wouldn't have to license it out. They wouldn't have to worry about porting to pay the extra money to port those games to other consoles. If
Yeah, but just in general, that's money going. Like, okay, you spent money to port a game over to another console. Let's say, uh, you spent 50. Let's say they spent 10 million to port that game to whatever Microsoft's console is. But then and let's say for every unit they make $30, but they have to give $5 of that to Microsoft.
yeah,
So that's not
yeah,
necessarily like you're literally taking money out of your revenue stream. Because that's how
yeah,
Microsoft got fucked with the Xbox One last gen when it had a Blu-ray in it, because like Sony is part of the Blu-ray consortium. So for every Xbox One Microsoft was selling, they were losing money already because they weren't making money on those consoles. Plus, no matter what they made, they still had to give like $10 or $15 to the Blu-ray consortium on top of losing money per console.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like, yeah, they'd just be, I guess they would just be losing money if they ported everything to everything. So, it might actually be beneficial. But the thing is, it's just how Sony's been treating Japanese development lately. It just doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
they don't care.
they don't
You're
care.
absolutely right. Like it started during the end of the PS2 era. Like the
Yeah,
last like 4 years of the sixth gen, they started saying fuck these Japanese developers. But then once the PS3 era hit, that seventh gen, whoo boy, Sony said fuck y'all, take your shit and get out. That's what they
yeah,
said to the Japanese developers.
they were chasing multiplayer. They were trying to ride the Xbox 360's coattails with you know multiplayer and shooters and stuff like that. Like we didn't see a lot of we didn't. It's not like the fifth and sixth gen, um, even the fourth gen where we saw a lot of JRPGs, really colorful platformers. Become you know be the star of the show. But now once seventh gen hit, it was just became gray and green uh, shooters, first person, third person shooters, multiplayer.
Yeah, well, that's what they became the HD twins.
Yeah,
Like Sony and Microsoft became the HD twins, where like even game like Battlefield started to look just like Call of Duty.
yeah,
You know,
eventually, yeah,
and even Sony's like, yeah, we're gonna do Killzone. Killzone's gonna be our answer to Halo.
Halo.
Yeah, it's like for real.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. And I remember that when they first showed the PS3 the PS3 tech demos, and they showed Killzone um 3. They actually showed a lot of like these pre-rendered CGI trailers trying to pass them off as gameplay.
Yep.
Uh, I remember hearing about the debacle that went down with the whole Killzone thing, and how it wasn't actually, when it was designed, when the trailer was designed, it wasn't supposed to be considered actually running on PS3 hardware. It was supposed to
It was around
be
the
a proof of
development PC.
concept. Yeah, it was supposed to be a proof of concept, not some not an actual. Then it all snowballed out of control. So
Well, Sony was desperate because at that time, because Killzone launched early in the PS3's life cycle when they were still struggling and they were losing money on every console, and they were like, "Shit, we need to make something happen." Um,
yeah,
so they were like, anything, and third parties stood by them despite the struggling of that console because third parties knew that if Sony was strong and healthy, they'd have a platform for them to put their shit out on.
yeah.
You know, they didn't abandon Sony like they abandoned Microsoft during the Xbox One era or the Wii U during the 8th gen. So basically, all I'm saying is this: I don't trust a fucking word that the SquareSoft CEO says. If he says something, I'm like, he's lying, or he's not telling you the full story of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't trust I don't trust the modern day Square Enix either.
Because they're too. I mean, especially this guy. He's very like they continuously make some bad decisions, repeatedly bad decisions. Um, like back to back to back to back. So at this point, I can't really be like, well, no, it's not that. No, no, no. They're full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. Next, um, final topic. Are there any games coming out in August you're looking forward to aside from the usual suspects of like Pokemon and is
Um,
Pokemon coming out in August? Let's see what big games are coming out in August. Let me look it up.
yeah, Blade 3 is gonna take up most of my time, so I don't think I'm gonna be looking to get any games for a while.
And even if you got it, you wouldn't have time to play it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking forward to the TMNT, the Ninja Turtle, the Cowabunga collection.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I might get it on Switch so I can have a physical copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. The Spider-Man remastered. Getting that on
Oh yeah,
PC.
that's the game I'm looking for. I forgot. It comes out in a few days.
Yeah, that comes out
I
on the
probably
12th, so next week.
I probably won't get that right away. I'm probably gonna wait.
Till there's a sale or something.
Definitely.
Uh,
Either sale.
yeah, but I mean, when it goes on sale, it's probably going to be like $5 or $6. Stuff like that doesn't go on sale early.
Oh yeah,
I'm cool with it, but
yeah, it'll probably be like 10%, 10 fit. If you're
yeah,
lucky, 15% off in November or something.
yeah. Soul Hackers 2. I'm looking forward to that. Destroy All Humans Reprobed. It's Destroy All Humans 2, sorry.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and of course, TMNT, the Cowabunga collection. I can finally play the original arcade versions of TMNT and Turtles in Time. Although, to be fair, the best version of Turtles in Time is the SNES version. It's better than the arcade version. It basically a lot of the levels that kind of suck for the arcade version. They just turned into bonus levels in the SNES version. They moved some levels, some bosses around, and they added like 2 extra levels. So it's the superior game. You know, which oh well. So no other games. You're like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. Nothing.
No, it's just really the big game for me is Spider-Man. Um, the Kawabunga collection looks interesting too. I might pick that up.
Yeah. The only downside is it's like a $50 game, which I'm like, but I know you guys had to pay for
Oh,
that license, and it's
ooh.
13 games, so you're like paying like around $6-7 per game.
Yeah, I
If
guess that
you,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, that is a lot of games. I wouldn't. Yeah,
You get the arcade ports of 2 of them, plus the console ports. I'm like, I got to be like, okay, fine then. I'll let that slide.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like I said, it's like I think it's $49.99 here. Let me look it up. Let's see here, TMNT Cowabunga collection. Let's see, it's shit. It doesn't tell you the price, but I'm pretty sure it's like a $40 game, or like $50 game. It's like 50. It's like $49.99 or something. Here, let me look it up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection price. Price. Okay, that's the special collection. I don't care about the special. Oh no, it's $39.99.
Okay.
If you want the steel box, it's $150.
Oh.
So how many games is it? Let me look how many games that is. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 games for $39. That's roughly $3 per game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fair deal.
Yeah.
Although all you need are 4 of these games, okay? All you need is arcade version of Turtles in Time and the original, maybe the NES arcade game 2, and the Manhattan Project, and Turtles in Time for the SNES, and Tournament Fighters for the SNES. The rest of that stuff's like, I don't need this, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
And you get online play with arcade, Turtles in Time arcade, and Hyperstone Heist and Tournament Fighters. And I hope that's the SNES version, because that's the best. That's the better TMNT game. But whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, with that being said, is there anything you want to bring up before we wrap things up? I told you it was going to be a short cast.
No, I'll save that. I'll save that topic for later.
All right, that's the end of the cast. This was a surprise secret cast. I just wanted to get one on the books for channel purposes or whatever. Anyway, that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and live your life. Play your games. Peace.